you going, guys? Steve here from Australian 4x4 Adventures, and I have got something super cool for you guys. So, first things first, I got some stickers from last week's video. So I asked you guys if you wanted to send some stickers so I could start to decorate the wall to get rid of some of that giant whiteness and actually put some colour into the room. Still haven't fixed the lighting. I'm trying to find the best spot to stand for the lighting. Obviously, just a quick shout out for a couple of them. So Off-Road Lens, Pat, legend, love it. Meet the Metches. Meet the Metches. The Tinsman podcast. Yep, I've never heard of it, but I'm going to jump on that. So I've learned something new today. And Naztime Adventures. You just ticked over 1,000 subscribers. Good work, buddy. Love your effort. It's all about supporting each other in the YouTube game, I reckon. But today's video is all about that little sucker right there. So it's the BLUETTI 2000 watt, 2000 watt battery pack with a 2000 watt inverter inbuilt inside it as well. This one, dead set. There's some good points, there's some bad points. I'm probably going to piss someone off. It's going to be them. Let's roll that intro. Love it. I love it. Alright guys, so we can get stuck into some of the actual details of what this is now. So this is the BLUETTI 2000 watt inverter lithium battery something or other. I'll say from the get-go, this is not a technical review. I'm not smart enough to do a technical review. So I'm going to go more along the lines of what this can do and how it does it, because I think that's more practical in the way we're going to do it. Kind of going to focus a little bit on trade orientated because, you know, trade. I even dressed up in my tradie gear today. I'm like good. So I'm trying to show a more practical side of what this is capable of, rather than just going through the technical specs. There's plenty of other YouTubers out there that have done the reviews on the technical side of what these are, in the sense of battery capacities and all the other crap that goes with all this. I just want to show you what they can actually do. So I will get into a little bit of detail about what it is, just so you don't have to go look at other people's stuff just to find out the basic details. So it's a 56 volt lithium 40 amp lithium battery. In 12 volt terms, that works out to be around about 160, 170 amps of 12 volt usable power. So it's substantial for a lithium battery side of it. It's got a 2000 watt inbuilt inverter inside it with a peak value of, I think it's 4,500 watts for 30 seconds or something. So it can take that surge starting power. It can take 3 types of power input: solar, 240 and 12 volt charging. So you can sort of charge this at any different types. Wait around for that one because that's a bit of a not a good point. I'm going to cover the good and the bad points of this. There are a couple of bad ones. There are quite a few good ones as well, but it's not a perfect unit, so hang around. All right, so really quickly across the front here, there's a hell of a lot of plugs on the front of it. I don't even know what some of them are called, so I've got no idea. If you've got a specific plug, you're going to know what these are called if that's what you're after. I'll just put a bit of an image up of it so you can see what they are. Essentially, I think it's merit plug. Something I don't know, it's just a round something or other, just 12 volt 3 amp. Then you got USB-C, and then a couple of USB 2s, another couple of USB 2s. Then you've got your 240 outlets here as well. Each side can be individually turned on and off, so you can have your DC power on and off, and you can have your AC power on and off. So it means that you don't have to have your inverter running the entire time. Other advantage to what this unit does: phones on top, wireless charging on top of the unit there. I've had a couple of little dramas with that one. My case doesn't really like to accept wireless charging through that part. Even if I take it out of the case, it'll start wireless charging for maybe 30 seconds, then cut out on me. I can't seem to get it to continuously charge no matter what I do, whether it's my phone, whether it's something with the unit, whether that's just what happens, I don't know. But for me, the wireless charging side of it hasn't quite worked as nicely as what I was hoping it would. All right, how about we get into this test and actually use and abuse it, shall we? All right, first things first, camping, 12 volt fridge, can it run it? So I know this is probably not really a fully accurate representation of what most people's fridges are. This is just the King's glove box or center console style fridge. It's the only fridge I don't have that's not bolted to my car. I've actually been running this in the shed non-stop for about a month now. I've had this running it the entire time to try and just see if I could fault find anything or have something go wrong with the unit to see what would actually happen. I've actually had this unit now for around about 4 or 5 months. I've had a decent chance to use and abuse it, take it away on trips and just give it a go. I've actually pissed BLUETTI off, truth be told. I was meant to get the video done within a couple of weeks. I said no, I want time to actually use the unit and actually review it and get to know what it's about. They were a bit shirty about it. Oh, but you said you'd have it. Yeah, well, that's YouTube for you. I'm not going to put my ass on the line by saying something's good or bad unless I've had time to actually use it. So I took my rights and I used it, and I'm finally getting around to doing the video. Obviously, a house build got in the way at the same time, so it was slightly longer than what I thought. But rest assured, I actually used this product and I've tried to break it. I've tried to make it do the wrong thing. It's not perfect. Stick around. So simple as, once that's in there, you can turn your AC or your DC power on and off, so 12 volt, turn the fridge on, fires up straight away. So that is nothing. On the face here, it does give you all the details on watt powers, on all the amperage, wattage, or on all the wattage that's being used. Obviously it hasn't fully turned on yet, so once that does, it'll give us the readout of how much power it's actually using for the fridge. This one uses about 45 watts. Alright, so the fridge just fired up then. It's come up on the screen here saying what's 37 watts at the moment. It peaked at 48 when it first started up. Now it's at 37, 36. So that's obviously how many watt hours it uses to run this particular fridge when it's on, which is not too bad considering it's a King's fridge. All right, something slightly different. Say you go camping, whatever, and your other battery, say your car battery goes flat, something like that, and you just want to charge it up. Don't have any other way of charging it, but you happen to have a charger with you, and you've got your BLUETTI with you. I haven't actually done this, I've got no idea what's going to happen right now. So, chuck on there, it's already on there. AC is on, turn it to charge. See what happens. There you go. So this particular charge is using 140 watts to start charging that battery. So straight away that works hunky-dory. Couple of hours on here, battery's going to be mostly charged overall. Newest fad in camping these days is electric chainsaws. I'm actually a convert, I think they're really good. Biggest thing you have to sort of try and do sometimes is charge the lithium battery out while you're camping. So some people don't have inverters, they're just expensive, they're big bloody things sometimes. So, can you charge your chainsaw battery from one of these at the same time? So I know you can, and well, sorry, it's already fully charged, so it's not gonna work. But this does work quite well on this thing. I've done it before, works a treat. This only uses 330 watts to charge, so well within the specs of what this can actually do. Sorry, it's already charged. So a cool little nifty one that I don't think a lot of people would consider using with this appliance with this. Electric blanket. So down in Victoria, obviously it's bloody cold in winter. I actually have this in my swag half the time and it's bloody mint. The advantage to this BLUETTI unit is it's portable. So I can take it out of the car, put it down beside my swag, generally underneath the awning anyway, and have this right next to my swag at night time. You can turn it on and off, generally 10 minutes before you go to bed. Go over there, as you see, you can turn it on again, that way, preheat, bam, so that's on maximum right there. And we're using 115 watts overall, and that's on maximum heat to sort of get it nice and warm to jump in the bed. When it's down, when you're setting it to your normal temperature, you're only using around about 30 or 40 watts. More than capable of getting all the way through the night, only using around about 20 to 30% of the battery. Then you've got to charge it up the next day. Just a nifty little thing that you can do, which I think a lot of people wouldn't even think about using, but this makes it very possible to do. Next, all right, starting to pull out some of the big guns now. Now, if you don't go camping with an air fryer, do you even go camping? All right, so this is just a little tiny air fryer that I got from cats.com, and it was like 80 bucks or something like that. Just, ooh, don't look in there, it's gross. Ooh, it even smells bad. This fits behind the back seat of my car, so it works really well. It's good for quick roadside stops. Chuck some chicken strips in there, 10 minutes later, have some chicken wraps or something like that. Absolutely mint, love it. Cool, all right, so power's on full. Let's turn it on. Straight away, we are up to 1100 watts, straight like that. All right, so clearly that runs it perfectly fine. How long it's going to run it is going to be the next question, but that's going to come down the track a bit when we start talking about longevity of this type of stuff being used on here. It does actually have a temperature controlled fan, so the more power that's being drawn out of it, the faster the fan will run to try and keep the inverter nice and cool at the same time. Keeping things cool makes things work more efficiently overall. Alright, so if you're a chippy or a friggin' any sort of trade, 9 times out of 10, you've probably got one of these sitting in the back of the ute for lunchtime. Good old sandwich press, so you can have your toasted ham and cheese sandwiches at lunch. Whoa, sorry, that's already on. So plug that in, 1700 watts straight away, and that fan started kicking in. Obviously it knows it's going to be starting to draw a fair bit of power, so it started to try and keep it as cool as it can straight away. So it's got good safety features built into the unit itself. That obviously is controlled by how much power you're using overall. So that's 1700 watts. That'll start to heat up. How about we just... So it's 2783 watts. Oh, I've killed it. Killed it. Now, alright. I'll turn that off. It lasted for a little bit. It was, I don't know, 10 seconds maybe. That's not too bad. Alright, so that's getting pretty hot now. It's not quite up to temperature yet, but you can see it runs the sandwich press perfectly fine, no dramas at all. Obviously running the air fryer at the same time. Bit over the top. Alright, so you guys can't actually see this on, oh, you might be able to see it in the corner of the camera there. Little bar fridge. So say you actually want to take a full-size fridge camping, something like that. It'll run it perfectly fine. So that's only using 92 watts. It's bugger all. So it's perfectly capable of running a fridge. We actually had a power blackout a little while ago here. It was a massive windstorm. We lost power for about a week. I had the BLUETTI out running the fridge, the coffee machine, TV, all that sort of stuff. It was running everything inside the house, which saved my ass. The other way we ran stuff, essentially this is its competitor, a petrol Honda 2.2 kVA generator. Very similar size, as you can see. This you need petrol for, this you don't. I think both have their advantages, but we're not talking about this one today just yet. Push it to its limits a little bit. I've got a electric hot water service out here in the shed as well, which is just on 2000 watts. So that's using 2024 watts right now, which is pretty much on the limit of what the inverter should be able to do. I don't know, just hang around and see if it works. Another thing you can do with it as well, so say you're out on a building site, no power, don't want to run a lead, got your old BLUETTI in the back of the car, charge all your batteries up. Good old Makita stuff, by the way. I'm also doing this because I'm trying to torture test this a little bit. So I've got the hot water service running, which is just over 2000 watts, plus this, so we're running at 2300 watts, and I've been doing this for the last minute now. So I'm just trying to see how long it's going to last being overclocked for the inverter. So So we're sitting at about 5 minutes now with both the charger and the hot water service going. So we're sitting around about that 2300 watt mark, and it's still going. So clearly it can be overclocked for a period of time, which is quite nice. Uh-oh, cut out. So that was just over 5 minutes worth, and it's cut out. Maybe, obviously, it's guessing it's got too hot there. So clearly can't run it at over 2000 watts for any more than say 5 minutes, within reason, I guess. So that's found our limit. All right, so clearly we've found our limit on what the unit's capable of. So around about that, obviously the 2000 watts is where it needs to be at for the sweet point. You can go slightly over it, but only for a very short period of time. Stuff like an aircon in a caravan where it might have say a 2200 peak startup, but then they're only running around about 1800, 1500 watts to actually keep the unit cycling. This would run an aircon in a caravan because it's got that extra peak that you need to sort of start them up. Fantastic. That's about where the good stuff stops. Let's talk about some negatives. All right, so one of the negatives that I found, this is going to sound pretty weird, the battery capacity. It's for what I use when I go camping. So air fryers, toasters, that sort of like induction cooktops, heavy use items for electricity. This doesn't quite have enough battery life in it overall for that type of camping. If you're just going to use it to run a fridge, charge some phones, everything else, absolutely mint. I think it'd be perfect for it. All right, so I brought this out to the car now because this is where the dramas start to sort of come to the forefront for me. Charging the unit is actually quite a pain in the ass, to be honest. There's 3 different types of charging you can do for it. One is 12 volt, second is 240, third is solar. You can actually put in up to 700, I think it's 750 watts of solar into the unit, so it accepts quite a bit of solar. So the solar regulator inside is quite large. And if you can get 700 watts of solar into it, you're going to charge this thing in no time. The drama is it won't accept a 12 volt solar charge. It has to be 48 volt. So pretty much everyone who's gone out to Kings and bought a 12 volt 300 or 160 or 300 watt panel, it's useless. You can't use it unless you can link a couple together to get that voltage right up there. It needs 48 volts or more to actually even recognize the fact that it's on charge. So for most people, that's going to be useless. You can get 48 volt solar panels, but most people wouldn't have them straight off the bat. But I know you're going to start saying, but you can still charge it off 12 volt. What's the drama? Well, the drama is it only charges at 100 watts. So 100 watts isn't really a lot when you're talking about something that then is at 2000 watts. So you're talking 20 hours to charge this thing up on a 12 volt charging system. It's currently plugged in at the moment and we're putting in 95 watts, which is about right for what the 12 volts will put in. It says up to 100 watts. The drama I found with it, I left this in the car for around about 3 weeks permanently. It has to be turned on to accept charge, and I was just driving around normally trying to charge it up. The amount that the BMS and the operating system uses just to stay turned on uses more than what I was charging during the day. So I'd get it up to say 80%, then overnight it'd drop down to 70% because it uses about 6 to 8% just to stay turned on overnight. So 10 days, and the thing's completely flat. Anyway, it's without even using it. That's a bit of a downfall to me. So trying to charge it off of a 12 volt cigarette lighter in your car, pretty much useless. It's not going to work. You can charge it off 240 though. Obviously it means you're going to have an inverter in your car. Kind of defeats the purpose of what you got here. But that's the way I've been charging when I go away, because I've got lithium in the back, so that's got a fair bit of grunt in it. I wanted this for extra power, plus so I could test it out so you guys knew what was going to happen. So for me, I've already got the cigarette lighter plugged into the side there, doing our 95 watts. Plug the 240 volt in through my inverter. The 240 charger says it'll charge up to 500 watts. I've never once seen it charge at 500 watts. It's always around about 450 to 470 at the absolute most. So at the moment we've got 468. plus our 95, so we're looking at a round figure of about 600, 590, 580, 600 watts going into it. That's really good. That's actually a really good charge rate. But the drama with that is, I'm not just Instagramming here, I'm actually going to grab my DCS app so I can see how much power that's pulling out of my batteries. So we're pulling 50 amps out of my house battery, my lithium inside the back here, to be able to charge this at 500 watts at a 12 volt. That's how it works. So, oh sorry, no, that's including the, sorry, that includes the cigarette lighter one as well, because that's hooked up to my lithium at the same time. So for 600 watts, we're doing 51 amps almost out of there. So 50 amps coming out of there, it's not going to last very long to charge this up. So I don't know, like it's not the most efficient way of charging it. I can start the car and I'll be putting 45 amps, 50 amps back into the battery using my DC to DC anyway. So I can sort of be holding it around about even playing field. So I'm not going up, not going down, I'm just sort of holding it. That's how I've been charging it when I've been going around. I'll have this plugged into my inverter, plus in there, so I'm putting in a 600 watts. Car's running because I'm driving around, so the house battery's getting charged, so it's just sort of holding charge and keeping it running overall. For me, that solar input is a massive negative. Like, it's just another thing to buy. If this was capable of accepting a 12 volt input for solar, absolutely mint setup. But I'm personally not going to go out and buy a 48 volt solar panel, because I can't use it on anything else. So when I say the battery capacity isn't quite enough inside this, it all depends on your use. I think, so as an example, basically what we just done before, so run the induction for a little bit, played with some chargers, done the air fryer, run an electric hot water service for maybe 8 minutes or something, we're down to 62% overall. So we'd use 38% of the battery in less than half an hour of me just mucking around with it here. Granted, they were very high use items and they're smashing the battery on purpose. I'm trying to show you what it's capable of. But say you're at camp and you run your induction, you run your air fryer, you're going to use 50-60% of your battery just cooking a meal in this thing, because it's not quite enough. Having said that, to be completely fair to it, I've got a 200 amp hour DCS lithium in the back here, and I find that just undersized as well. I reckon I need around about 300 amps inside the car to be comfortable enough to use all the full electric induction, air fryer, kettle, all that stuff that we use, plus charge all my camera equipment to be safe. I get around about, by the time I get up in the morning and cook breakfast, the batteries are sitting around about 30% by the time I start driving the car again. So it's using a fair bit of it, and that's the house battery. This one, it's flat by morning. All right, so who do I think this is for? Because this is the big question that everyone's going to be thinking, oh, is that going to be suited to my needs? Personally, what I think if you already have a lithium setup in your car, 150, 200 amp or more, you don't need this. This isn't going to be of any benefit to you for the cost of what this is. They're about $2,800, I think they are. Retail delivered to your door. It's a 2-year warranty included with them. They're an awesome bit of kit, but if you've already got lithium set up in your car and you've got a decent battery setup, you've already got inverters, you don't need this. Where I think this is going to be beneficial is maybe to your new campers. Yes, it's going to be a big investment to set up initially, but it's well worth it, especially if you're someone that changes over your cars, you've got a company car, so you're not allowed to modify it, all that sort of thing, or if you've just got a normal car, not even a full drive, but you love going camping. This is basically just a super advanced version of the old style battery boxes that kind of are pretty crap. So if you work out what everything is included, so you've got, say, a 160 amp lithium battery. So just that alone, so to buy a 160 amp lithium battery from anywhere, generally looking around about $1,500 to $2,000 on average, and that's being kind of not generous in the pricing, as in underpricing. So you say $2,000 just for the lithium battery. Then you've got to get a big inverter. So this is a 2000 watt inverter. So to get a 2000 watt inverter for a decent quality branded one, you're looking at around about 800 bucks to $1,000. So you're at say 3,000 bucks just by the time you get there. Then you've still got to wire it all up. You've still got to install it somewhere, and it's still got to sort of fit within your means. And you haven't got any switches. You haven't got all the extra inlets and everything else. They're all extras you've still got to buy. So it's all in all, you're probably looking at closer to $4,000 to set up, say, an in-car setup that's only good for one use inside your car. You can't take it out and take this down to the beach. This is going to be fantastic summertime. Go to the Murray. Rather than have an esky down near the water, we're going to have a bloody fridge down near the water. And this thing's going to be running it because we can. That's why. Obviously, full disclosure, BLUETTI did send this to me for free. I haven't had to pay for it. The requirement was I had to make a video. My requirement back to them was I get to say what I want. So obviously this isn't a sunshine and roses video about them. It is positive towards them. I think it's a good product, but I don't think it's perfect. I think there could be improvements, mainly being in the battery capacity and the price. It's not cheap at all. Good value though, in the sense by the time you add up what I was saying before, buying a battery, buying an inverter, putting in installation in place, this is still better off for that style of person. I had a mate just buy one the other day. He bought one for his caravan. He's selling his van soon, buying a new one, but he bought one of these because he can transfer this to the new van, and it's usable. This is an investment in your camping future. I've got another friend who's got just an AGM battery box like this, the Arc Pack ones, pretty good. Guarantee you she's going to go for one of these next time round once that one finally carks it, because this is a much better product than what those old battery boxes were. But I think it's specific to the type of person who's using it. So if you like to change your cars over, buy something different, move it out, use this in 100 different ways that you can use one that's inbuilt into your car, definitely this should be on your bucket list to buy, because I think it's one of those awesome things. Just my 2 cents worth. Obviously I think I get to keep this one unless I've pissed BLUETTI off and they might want it back, but in the same note, probably won't. See what happens. That's the advantage of being me. I get to do what I want because I won't lie to you guys no matter what. God, that hurts me so much sometimes. Anyway, so as always, hope you liked the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the unit. Let me know if you're going to buy one. I don't think BLUETTI's given me a discount code or anything, or something or other. If they have, I'll chuck it down in the description down below. Click on that. If you buy it through that, obviously it just lets them know that you've bought it through me, and they know that someone's actually buying it and watching my videos. And I think I'll talk to them and I'll see if I can get a discount code by the time this video comes up. So we'll see what happens. Check out the description down below. And as always, I'll see you next week.